Well, once again, I'm out there making it another great day. Actually, I'm inside with my sunglasses on. I am at the National Comedy Hall of Fame located in Holiday, Florida. And we're going to go check this place out. We're going to talk to the people here at the Comedy Museum, the man who got this thing started, Tony Belmont, and I can't wait to meet him. That's coming at you right now.
Right there on the floor, Gigi.
What are you going in such a hurry, boy?
Not even a slight bit of mild nudity.
Hey everybody, this is John Schneider.
We are the Gravlax brothers from the planet Fuckatron.
Hey, this is Butch Patrick from the Munsters.
I'm gonna put you out of the jail and throw away the key.
Make it a great day.
Because you deserve it.
Yes, you do.
You deserve it.
You deserve a great day.
Well, here we are going into the official National Comedy Hall of Fame here in Holiday, Florida. I've been excited to come here and check this out. And they got a lot of artifacts, a lot of memorabilia and stuff. Some things we can show and some things we can't. And the first thing we see is W.C. Fields, and he is using his PPE, his personal protection equipment. And they have hand sanitizer for you. And if you're feeling a little nuts, they have free nuts. You can help yourself there to those. This is the big walk here going into the museum. A lot of movie posters here on the walls. And the old Wizard of Oz. Who doesn't like the Wizard of Oz?
Hi, I'm Amanda Cattell, and I'm from the National Comedy Hall of Fame Museum in Holiday, Florida. And right behind me is the Comedy Hall of Fame that features all of our inductees. Here's the wall of great women of comedy that have done significant work in comedy. And on this wall is the famous touring comedians that feature modern comedians that are currently on tour. This is Thomas Wignall, who is the first American comedian, and he's a great pioneer in political satire. Here's the Jack Benny statue. We only have two in the world. One is with Jack Benny's family and one is here in the museum. And the real bronze statue is in Illinois and it's 9 feet tall.
So explain this. Do you know much about this thinker?
So the Thinker statue is from the Dobie Gillis show, and it was a sitcom in the 60s about teenagers, and where they would hang out and talk about the current episode, they would hang out in front of the statue. The National Comedy Hall of Fame was established in 1991 at the LA Friars Club. At the time, there was no other official organization that honored comedians or the history of comedy, so it was established by Tony Belmont, Milton Berle, Sid Caesar, and Morey Amsterdam from The Dick Van Dyke Show.
So tell me how this got started with way back in the day.
It actually, the conversation came up as far back as 1989 at the LA Friars Club. And then really took hold in July 25th of 1991. That's when we actually got the federal trademark for National Comedy Hall of Fame. We hold the trademark for Canada. We got the trademark for the United Kingdom. So we are the real deal. There was nobody at that time, nobody. Even the Little Lucy Museum up in Jamestown didn't come around until about 93 and 94. So there was nobody. There was no, and that's the reason it was needed. Morey Amsterdam was the one who said, we need to document the great careers of the great comedians. He was a comedy expert, by the way. Morey could take you all the way back to Wignall, 1787, which most people have never heard of. He's the father of American comedy, and he could take you through him, through Dick Fox in the 18th century, and all these guys are forgotten, just like Jim Carrey would be forgotten, and Robin Williams and everybody else, if somebody doesn't document it now for the far future generations to know that these people, not only did they exist, but they were a real benefit to society and made people laugh. So that's how it all came about. That night, sitting around the table, four icons of comedy and one blue-collar working guy, myself. Unfortunately, they're all gone. They were, it was Milton Berle, Jan Murray, Sid Caesar, and Morey Amsterdam and myself. And Murray cheats at cards, but that's another story.
So this was a traveling museum for a while?
It was a traveling museum, and how that came about was back in 1970, I was a concert producer. I run Alan Freed Productions, which is the oldest rock and roll company in the world. And we did 1,000 concerts. And the Smithsonian heard about me and asked me if I would take on this job of traveling around the country and documenting all the great comedians. Now, the year is important because in 1970, many of the vaudevillians were still alive. And we're talking about the real height of American comedy is from about 1895 to the present day. So many of them that were doing vaudeville in 1920, 1918, 1920. By 1970, they were elderly, but they were still around. And they're right, it had to be documented. So I went to the different houses. And each one of them, of course, was delightful. I remember going to Jack Benny, and I sat down in the den, and I would come in with a cameraman. And the cameraman would just be off to my side, and we'd focus dead span on the comedian. And I remember Jack walking into the room. He was holding his wife's hand, Mary. They sat down, and he began to tell me about his life and about the fact that him and George Burns were good friends and everything. But in the midst of that, I happened to notice him holding his wife's hand. So I said, Jack, I think that's very romantic. You walked in here holding Mary's hand, before we get started on the interview. This was just a thing I noticed. And he said, yes, if I let go, she goes shopping. So I realized that when I gave these guys a statement, it became a straight line, and especially with George Burns. I mean, I literally wound up taking the place of a straight man, and he was like Gracie Allen. Everything became funny, and we got a ton of little stories like that. So I traveled anyway, talked to all of them across the country. I spoke to about 325 comedians, documented it all, put it on video. It's part of the American experience now. And here at the library, we have copies of those interviews so people can see something they've never seen anywhere else before, where Jack Benny's telling you himself, how he picked the name Jack Benny, how I got started, but then he does a little funny stuff. So all the videos in the museum, along with all the memorabilia and artifacts, the videos are made with two things in mind: education and entertainment. They'll educate you on a little bit of comedy history, and then they're going to make you laugh. And that's the basis of the whole museum: education and fun.
And you've got some items here, like some puppets and different things that we can't show, but
yeah, we have we have one of the finest puppet collections in the country. A lot of originals. Jerry Mahoney's here, Knucklehead. So the puppet collection is just part of American comedy to some degree. It's just that it entertained the children. And that's the whole thing with the museum. The museum is vaudeville, radio, television, theater, film, stand-up. It covers the different areas of comedy. Our phase 2, which is coming, which will be about the whole history of the circus and clowns. And for that, we have two of the most famous circus families are involved with the museum. That's the Wallendas and the Flying Zucchinis. So both of them have been involved in helping produce that end of the museum.
They even have a screening room back here, and looks like a vault, and it's sort of the vault of comedy, I guess. And once a month they do screenings of short clips that you could come in here and see. And on the sides of the walls here, they have photos of some spectacular theaters all over the world. And it's just an incredible place to come down here at the National Comedy Hall of Fame. Let's go look around some more. Clown test. If it's going to say anything or not. It's staring at me.
Never saw it do that before.
It knows it's on camera.
You're not worth the sweat on a monkey's under armpit.
Oh my goodness, do you hear that? Insulting me like that. I get enough of that in the
It
comments.
looks like you have had so many facelifts that the chain broke.
Well, this has been fun visiting the National Comedy Hall of Fame Museum here in Holiday, Florida. Check them out on their website. Give them a phone call on the number on the screen. I'm going to put the address up there on the screen. And their hours of operation, there's 2 or 3 days they're not open. If you do come in here and mention you saw this video and heard about them from the tourist trap, they'll give you a discount. How sweet is that? It was great to meet Tony Belmont, one of the founders of, and got this whole thing started along with Milton, Berle, and Morey Amsterdam, and I can't think of the other 2 people's names, but rewind back and you can hear him mention those names. And the museum manager, Amanda, was wonderful. I appreciate your time and showing me around. I do truly appreciate you here at the National Comedy Hall of Fame. And I've been so excited to come here and check this out. They have a lot of memorabilia in there, a lot of things I cannot show you because they're personal items, personal things that belong to some very famous people. I can't mention the names because there's so many, but it was very cool to see some of the things in this museum. It's not just a bunch of pictures and posters. There's a lot of history here, and they're preserving it. That's the one thing. They are a non-profit organization, and this would be a great place to come, bring the family, or just to kill an hour or 2. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could have looked in there a lot longer, but I must go. And definitely check them out if you're around this area, or maybe plan a trip up here just to come and visit the National Comedy Hall of Fame. I'm going to get on out of here and see if we can find something else fun and interesting to check out, something you might not know about. And now you know about this place, so what are you waiting for? Come on down. Remember to keep going out there and making it a great day, because you deserve it.